Hi, my name is Katie Cox, and today I'll be talking to you about my research I did on Generation Y and their perception of off-price retailing and their effect on the purchase decision. And so the reason why I chose to do this topic is because over the past few years, we've seen major retail department stores like Macy's and JCPenney start to close some of their doors and downsize, while stores like TJ Maxx, Ross, Burlington Coat Factory have all increased the number of stores that they've had, some increasing 200 plus stores a year over the past 2 years. And then Generation Y being such a huge percent of the population, I thought it would be important to see the perception of the merchandise at off-price retailing to see if that affects if they contribute to this growth or if they do not contribute to the growth of the off-price retail industry. And so the research questions that I asked were, does Generation Y shop at off-price retailing? Um, how does Generation Y perceive the merchandise at off-price retailers? Is there a difference between men and women when it comes to shopping at off-price? Why or why not does Generation Y shop at off-price retailers? And then are brands important to Generation Y, and are low prices important to Generation Y? So my methodology for this research was that I created a survey with Qualtrics and focusing on a few key terms like off-price, consumer view, um, price, and quality. And then I created the survey, posted the link to my Facebook, and shared it with my friends and family and asked them to take it during the month of October. And all of the participants were voluntary. And I collected 51 surveys that were usable. And so my sample was Generation Y from the ages of 18 to 28. If anybody took the survey that was not in Generation Y, I deleted their information so that none of the data would be false and always applicable to my research. And so after that, most of my respondents were in between the ages of 20 and 22, making up 59% of the total. 76% of the participants were female, and then most people, 98% were Caucasian, and then 70% identified themselves as full-time students, and half of that 70% also were part-time employees as well. And so this is the group that we're looking at when I'm talking about the data that I collected. And so after that, I closed my surveys and took the data and put it to my research questions. And so the first one being, does Generation Y shop with off-price? I found that 82% responded with yes, they do, and only 18 said no, they do not. So making up a huge portion of the participants shopping at off-price. And so the second question was, how do you view off-price merchandise? And so I gave a group of selection of descriptions that they could pick from, picking more than one option, all that applied to, that they felt to the merchandise at off-price retailing. I listed valuable finds, last season, brand names, quality products, irregulars, and in season. And I came up with that 75% picked to describe the merchandise as a valuable find. And then 16% picked in-season new merchandise. I thought it was interesting that only 16% picked that they felt that it was a new merchandise, but they felt that most people felt that it was a valuable find, that it was brand names and quality products over, and so meaning that they find that more important, or that they don't find in season or last season's merchandise as less quality or less valuable than in-season new product. And so research question 3 was, is there a difference between men and women in shopping at off-price? And I found that when I did a cross-tabulation, that 88% of women shop with off-price, while only 67% of men chose to shop at off-price. Being a small difference, but still it is interesting that, men shop less with off-price than women do. And then for research question 4, which was, why or why not does Generation Y shop with off-price, or why don't they? 18% that said they didn't shop at off-price. Most gave reasons like unorganized, poor selection, or they just didn't shop in general, and so let alone they don't shop at off-price retailers either. The 82% that did say that they shopped with off-price gave reasons like good deals, low prices, bargains, descriptions such as that. And so, they're looking for something that is low price but of high quality. And so then on to question 5, which is, are brands important to Generation Y? I found it interesting that only 2% said that brands are extremely important when shopping to them, when 37% chose very important to them, and 41, which was the biggest portion, chose that brands were neither important or unimportant to um, them when they're shopping. And so I think that for the off-price retail industry, that it's still important for the retailers to have brands. 37, and the 2% were still a large portion of the total, bringing in consumers with items that they're familiar with. I think is part of driving their business, but not the key driver to the business. And so research question 6, which is are low prices important to the Generation Y consumer? I did a 5-point Likert scale, and low prices, on how important are low prices to you, received a 4.06, meaning that they are very important to Generation Y. And so I also did, is a good deal important to you? And they responded, it had a high score as well, meaning that, low price, high quality, a good deal. And so this is, I think, the key driver to off-price and Generation Y's relationship, that Generation Y wants this good deal, this low price. And so I think that that's still what is driving the business of off-price retailing. And so in conclusion, most Generation Y shops at off-price retailers. The reason why they shop there is mainly because of the low prices that they have to offer. Though it may be last season or irregular merchandise, Generation Y doesn't seem to care or to see it as less quality as a department store. To them, what is more important is to getting a good value as well as a good quality product. In comparison to previous findings, my research aligns with what I found with other scholars, that Generation Y does shop at off-price retailers, but they don't care that it's different than department stores. They don't see it as low quality, but rather a good find. They were still going for the low price and the high quality, making it a good deal. My recommendation for future study is that this survey was mainly distributed to Generation Y that are in college. They're still with a low budget, haven't started a career yet. So the idea that low prices are important, and that finding a good deal could just be because the consumers don't have all the money to spend on themselves yet. So I would recommend doing the same study or a similar one in 5 to 10 years, when Generation Y is in the workforce, has a career, has more money to spend on themselves, to see if low prices, good deal, bargains are still relevant and important to the Generation Y consumer. And I think it'll be interesting to see if this all still remains true for Generation Y and for off-price retailers. So that's all that I have for my research. Thank you so much for listening.